Right now, almost everything you do online is moving through a cable about the width of a garden hose, lying in total darkness, on the floor of the ocean, not satellites, not the cloud, cables. Roughly 600 of them carry over 95% of all data between continents, and in the last 2 years, someone has been quietly cutting them, on purpose. The question nobody is answering: who is doing it, and what happens the day they cut the wrong one? The cloud is a marketing word. Your data is physical, glass sitting on the seafloor. The ITU puts it at about 99% of all international internet traffic moving through undersea cables, not satellites. Why? Sending a bit by cable is roughly 2,800 times cheaper than by satellite. And the gap isn't close. Even Starlink isn't an escape. It still backhauls down to fiber-connected ground stations. The best Starlink V2 satellite manages about 20 gigabits per second. One cable, Maria, built by Microsoft and Meta, carries 224 terabits. Thousands of times more. The scale is hard to picture. About 1.4 million kilometers of active cable today, heading toward 2.7 million, enough to wrap the Earth dozens of times. And yet across the deep ocean, each cable is only 17 to 21 millimeters thick, the width of a garden hose. The glass fibers inside, the ones actually carrying the light, thinner than a single human hair. That thin thread carries an estimated $10 trillion in financial transactions. A US Federal Reserve figure, every single day. You'd assume governments own this, or the old phone companies. They don't, not anymore. Big Tech's share of the world's used international bandwidth went from about 5% in 2005 to roughly 74% today. Google, Meta, Amazon, Microsoft, and the model flipped. For a century, dozens of telecom firms would split the cost of one shared cable. Now a single company builds and owns the whole thing, end to end. Google alone owns at least 8 submarine cables outright: Dunant, Grace Hopper, Curie, Equiano. Then February 2025, Meta announced Project Waterworth, set to be the longest subsea cable ever built. Over 50,000 kilometers, longer than the circumference of the Earth. Wholly owned by one company, built largely to feed its own AI. The Meta-backed To Africa cable runs 45,000 kilometers and carries up to 180 terabits, roughly 20 times the combined capacity of all of Africa's older cables put together. The AI boom is driving a cable-laying gold rush, so 4 private companies now own the physical internet. And the thing they own breaks, constantly. This network breaks all the time. The cable industry's own body reports 150 to 200 faults every single year. That number has held near 200 for over a decade, even as the network grew 50%. Most of it is mundane. Between 70 and 86% comes from fishing trawlers dragging the seabed, and ship anchors in shallow water. Anchors alone cause about 30%. Roughly 60 cuts a year. Here is the part almost no one knows. The entire planet relies on a fleet of only about 60 specialized cable repair ships. Fewer than 20 dedicated purely to repair, many of them aging, some second-hand. By 2040, 2/3 of that fleet hits end of life. Keeping it alive will cost an estimated $3 billion. So when a cable is cut, you don't get an instant fix. You get in a queue. The average restoration time had climbed to about 40 days by 2023. One single repair dragged on for 947 days. Now imagine someone doing this not by accident, but on purpose. This is no longer hypothetical. The Baltic Sea, December 25, 2024. The Russia-linked tanker Eagle S dragged its anchor about 90 kilometers across the seabed, severing the Estlink 2 power cable, plus 4 telecom cables. In a single run, Estlink 2 stayed dark for 7 months, cost up to 60 million euros. Finland boarded and seized the ship. It followed 2 more anchor drag incidents weeks earlier, the New Polar Bear and the Yipeng 3, which alone cut 2 Baltic cables. Investigators stopped calling it coincidence. They started calling it a pattern. The Red Sea, February 2024. The anchor of the sinking Houthi-struck Ruby Mar cut 3 major cables at once: AAE-1, EIG, CECOM. disrupting an estimated 25% of all internet traffic between Asia and Europe, because about 17% of the world's data passes under one 14-mile-wide strait, Bab el-Mandeb, Taiwan. The cables to the Matsu Islands have been cut more than 20 times in 5 years. In February 2023, 2 Chinese vessels severed both at once, 14,000 residents nearly offline for 50 days. The same narrow waterways that have choked global shipping for centuries are now digital choke points, and one of them is being threatened right now. The live threat. May 2026, Iran's Revolutionary Guard threatened to tax or seize the 5 to 7 fiber cables running under the Strait of Hormuz. They even floated handing repairs to Iranian firms. Experts warned the obvious. Cable repair ships do not operate under fire, so a single cut there could become a blackout that lasts weeks or months, and we already know exactly what that looks like. Tonga, 2022. An undersea volcano severed the nation's one and only cable. The entire country went offline for 38 days. The nearest repair ship was 4,700 kilometers away. It took about 10 days just to arrive. East Africa, 2024, a cascade. A Red Sea cut, then an undersea landslide off Côte d'Ivoire that severed 4 cables at once. The internet went dark across Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, and Mozambique simultaneously, and the stakes were never video calls. These cables carry the SWIFT banking network's roughly 15 million financial messages a day. The stock markets, military communications. There is no backup internet, no satellite plan B at scale. So the only question left is when and who. So here's the choke point ledger. The cloud is really about 600 cables the width of a garden hose. Lying on the ocean floor, they carry 95% of the world's data, and $10 trillion a day, owned by 4 tech companies, guarded by almost no one. Cut around 200 times a year. And now they're being weaponized. The same straits that have throttled ships for centuries, Hormuz, the Red Sea, the Taiwan Strait, are now the throttle points of the entire internet. The real question was never if a big one gets cut, it's when. And who's holding the anchor? If hidden choke points that quietly run the world pull you in, subscribe to Choke Point.